Yeah, okay, let's start. So this again continuation of our mini project, right? So now what
Yeah,
we do is like what is remaining in this particular mini project is let us see the pages say the page first and I'll tell you. So let's click on update. Now here what we would like to do is in the currency as of now it is just a text input, right? So we have to change this to drop down. Okay, that's the first functionality. And also we have this line type. So this a actually user is entering, right? This should be LOV. So what we do is we'll work on we'll have a line type as LOV and a currency as a drop down. And also
okay.
the other functionality which is remaining is we'd like to have a attachment functionality in the lines table. Okay. So these are three
Okay.
things which we'll discuss.
Okay.
So one is currency drop down, line type LOV, and other one is attachment. So for currencies, let's have a query. So F&D currencies. I think we have a currency pop list, I guess.
We,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
we do have.
Yeah, we can directly use this one. Okay. Now
Yeah.
in this one, we have this already have this particular Vivo, right? So now what is the information we require? This is our pop list Vivo and this is our Vivo instance. And we have these two columns, currency code and currency name.
Yeah.
And in the database, we want to store currency code, but for the user, you like to show currency name. Okay.
Okay.
So now what we do? So let's go to our DML page. See, like whenever you're using any LOV or a pop list, we have to have a clarity that like what value you want to store in the database and what value you want to show to the user.
Okay.
So this is your currency item, and here for the for both ways, yeah. So header update region. In the header update region, I will change this one to message choice. Okay,
Okay.
and then after that, pick list
This
view
is
instance. Yeah. So here we have to mention the view instance. Okay, view instance name.
yeah.
Display attribute is currency name. And what is the value attribute? It's a currency code. Okay. And
Okay.
if you observe, we have to have this information also. We have to have view instance information also. The reason is whatever the value which you select in the LOV, now what is the value attribute? This value attribute will get copied to the this particular view instance view attribute.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. At runtime, whatever we select, that currency code will get updated with the view attribute of that particular Vivo.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We don't have to manually or programmatically do anything here.
No, nothing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And for the view region, what we have to do? It will be the same thing, message text input only. But now here comes a major important difficulty here. So now this is this is a view region, right? Okay, anyways, let's run the
Yeah.
page and I'll tell you what is the issue.
Okay.
Click on search, update. Okay, now you could see the currency drop down, right? Let's say I will select Afghan, save. Click on back. Now click on search. Right now, what we are seeing here? We are seeing the currency code, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, this is one issue. Okay, we have to see currency
Yeah.
name.
Okay. Yeah.
Update. Sorry, not update. Click on view. Now here again the same issue. Currency,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like we have to solve this, right? We need currency name to be displayed to the user. Okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, we have an alternative. What we can do is we can have a message choice here also. What we can do, we can change that particular component read only to true. If you set read only to true, that will solve it,
Okay.
right? That is one way. Other way is what we can do is it is better that always have a like the subquery for currency and display that,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So now what we require is FCT. Okay. So generally, like in the normal real-time implementation, most of the times you used to have functions, right? You'll have a functions to get the generic functionality. You can just
Yeah.
simply call that. But in our case, as we don't have function, we just need to incorporate the subquery here. So take the header vivo query,
Okay.
select statement. So just require. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just have this one. Yeah. Currency name. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the invoice search page, we'll set that currency. We'll change this to currency name. The same way in the invoice DML page, in the view region, right? In the header view region, currency, we have to change this to currency name. Okay. So this is how we can use of the
And
drop downs. Yeah.
in the above region also, right? Still one more region in the
Uh,
DML page.
In the update
Okay.
region, we have already have a drop down, right? So that will take care of the
Yeah.
functionality. Yeah. So click on search. Yeah. Can you see? We could see the currency name.
Yeah. Okay.
And now click on view. We have to see the currency name, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And in the update region, it shows the appropriate one, the drop down. It
Okay.
shows
Yeah.
the selected. It has to show the selected value, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now we can see the create also. So create by default it shows null, and once you select appropriate one, it will have the information.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So now the next thing is line type LOV, right? So what we do is let us have a drop down for that. So let me open the instance. We'll try to use the lookup for that. Okay. So either way, you can have a static values, or better, it is always better to have a lookup.
Look. Okay.
Application lookup. Now I'll just say line type. and okay, just have
Yeah.
four.
Okay.
And now the next thing is we have to join this. I mean, we have to have a query for this, right? So first of all, let's
Yeah.
design the query for this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, this is what we want.
Okay.
So we have to create a LOB for this one. LOB server,
Okay.
new view object, line type LOB view, read only access. Okay, click on next, 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 finish. Okay. So next thing is
Yeah.
we have to assign the Vivo to the AM, LOB server package, line type, sorry, line type LOB Vivo, apply, and okay. Now in our invoice update, right? Invoice in the invoice DML
In
and
the page.
in the table region. So this generally, whenever you use LOB, you generally have a problem here. Okay, you have to consider what we want to store, because if you consider drop down, you have an appropriate information like what you want to show and what you want to store. But in LOB, you don't have that option, right?
Yeah. So form
So
value.
yes, we have to use form value. That's the only option. Okay. So now here line type, right? In the update region, in the update table region, line type. First
Like.
of all, change this one to message LOB input. Okay. And
Yeah.
line type, I'll just say LOB ID like this.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, in the region of this LOB, create a region using a wizard, table region, and here select line type. Let's go with the default. Select message style text, next, and finish. Now in the mapping, so what do we want to show? In the LOB, we have to show the meaning, isn't it? So what is LOB
Yeah.
region item? LOB region item has meaning, and we want to return that to line type LOB ID. In the line type LOB ID, we have to show the meaning.
Yeah.
Okay. But okay, now here comes the important part. So first of all, anyways, like set the state search allowed as to true for both of them. Now here in the line type LOB ID, just observe here. What are we trying to store here? We want to store meaning, right? But here we are selecting line type attribute of the
Okay.
Vivo. So in this one, it is expecting that it has to have a code. It's not the meaning, isn't it?
Okay.
So this is the issue. Now what we have to do is when you are using LOB, again, like you have to know the difference what you want to show and what you want to store. Okay. So first of all, let us join the query for the line type. So in this one, what we do is, so lines, right? Okay. Click on SQL statement, export mode. This is our line type query, right? Now here, take this query first. So I'll prefer inner query, subquery rather than the joins. Okay. What we do?
Okay.
So take this one. Okay. And flv dot lookup underscore code is equal to line underscore type.
So you're selecting both the code and main string.
No, we require only meaning.
Code.
Yeah.
Meaning. Okay.
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 Line type.
Okay.
So now what we do? make just have this logic apply. Check the attribute mapping line type meaning. So now what we do, so in the invoice DML page, okay, in the invoice DML page for the LOB, because here the problem is we want to, let us say if you already selected a value, if you have already selected a value, then in which particular attribute the value will be there, it will be there in the line type meaning, not in the line type, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? So I have to select line type meaning here. But what happens to our line type, where it will get stored? Now we are mapping the line type meaning to this one, that's fine. But the line type meaning is a transient one. It's not the database persistent column, right? Then what happens to our
Yeah,
line
it's
type?
not.
So what we have to do is, so this one, it is only, now you have to consider this particular LOB is only for showing the data, right? Of course, it will show it
Yeah.
will show already existing value or it will show the selected value. But now what we have to do is create a form value here, new item, okay? So create form value, line type FV, and it's a varchar. So now what I have to do is we have to assign the view instance and view attribute also for this flex, for this form value. View instance,
Oh,
line type, sorry, not line type, our Vivo instance, lines Vivo instance. This lines Vivo instance,
yeah.
what we have to select, in which column we want to store this form value, in the line type,
I, yeah.
right? Got it?
Yeah.
Now we have to create a mapping also for the form value. LOV region
Okay.
item. Lookup code we want to return, right? Lookup code
Yes.
should be stored in the line type form value.
Yeah.
Understood the logic,
Yeah.
right? So when you're using LOVs, I mean, either way, whether LOV or whatever it is, in LOV, for display purpose, have the appropriate query column, and then make sure that you also have a form value column to store the selected value.
Okay. Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the view
Yeah.
region, what you have to change? In the view region, in the line type, let it be message style text, but change this column here, view attribute to line type meaning.
Meaning. Okay.
That's it. Okay.
Okay. So Sri, if you only store it in form value, and let's say we are not mapping it to the Vivo.
Uh-huh.
So when we are in process form request, there we can call the AM and then we can insert the value in the Vivo, right? Or we can modify the value in the Vivo
Yes,
for the
that's
current
correct.
row.
Yes, that is correct. But here, form value is part of a table region, right? So in the table region, if at all, if you have any item, that always should be part of a Vivo instance. If it is independent, let
Okay.
us say if the item is independent, if you just have, if you consider our header case, in the header region, we just have only one row, isn't it? You have only one row.
Yeah.
So there you can use a form value without Vivo instance. But if your form value is a part of a table region, it will have multiple records,
Okay.
right? So then like row level information, you will not have it there, right?
Okay. So can we have a current row or the row reference sort of thing there?
Yeah, of course,
But
you know,
yeah, anyway, this is way easier. We don't have to do any coding or anything, right?
yeah, of course, we doesn't need any coding here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay.
Okay, so select line
Yeah.
type. Now I'll select airway,
Okay.
right? And I'll select miscellaneous for this. I'll select travel for this. I'll select stationary for this. Okay, just click on save. Now for invoice under 342, let us see from backend what is happening. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
got it. Line type air, miscellaneous, travel, stationary.
Yeah.
It is getting stored with appropriate values, and in the meaning you have the appropriate values. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
so now click on back and now check the view region. It has to show the meanings, right? Airway, miscellaneous,
No.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, now coming to the other functionality, attachment functionality. So now here, when you consider attachments, or maybe file concept in the OA framework. There are many ways. Now, the concept which we would like to discuss is we would like to have a attachment link on a row level here. For each invoice line, let us say, now if you consider the travel, most of the times you prefer to have a attachments here, right? You have to submit the
Okay.
attachments, then only you have a appropriate expense will be claimed by us. Now what we do
Okay.
is we'll have attachment feature. OA by default provides one of the attachment feature. It is called attachment link or maybe attachment image. So we'll try to use that
Okay.
one. But the drawback for this one is by default, it stores the information in the F&D blob table, F&D tables, the serial tables. Okay, it will
Okay.
not. We don't have any feature to store the data in the custom table if you're using attachment image. Let us say if you want to
Okay.
store the attachments in your local table, I mean your normal custom table, then we have to write our own coding. But if you use attachment image functionality, within 2 minutes you can just finish the functionality of the attachment logic because it's a proven
Oh,
functionality. So advice is always has to be this particular functionality should be used.
okay.
Okay, because it's a proven one and it doesn't take more than 2 minutes to implement for a developer.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now in the DML page, and here I'm in the update region. Okay, in the DML range. And one more thing, when you're having a components, if you observe here in our case, we are able to easily identify the appropriate regions, right? The reason is because we had appropriate naming convention, else it would have been very difficult,
Yeah.
right? That also matters. So in the table region, right click here, click on new item and change the item style to attachment image. Okay, item style,
Yeah.
I just change it to attachment image. If you observe under the attachment image, we just got some more components which are created here. Okay, so first thing
Okay.
is attachment ID, and we have to assign the Vivo instance for this, our lines Vivo. Okay, and then here in the attachment image, there are a few things we have to work on. So one is entity map. Okay, and there's another thing called primary key and category map. The new primary key, and on the entity map again perform right click and click on category map. So first thing is we have attachment image item. Under that we have entity map. Under entity map we have primary key as well as category map. Okay. So in the entity
Okay.
map, just mention the entity. It's a user defined entity name. Okay. I'll just say lines underscore invoice. This is our entity. It's
Okay.
user defined entity name. And then other thing is primary key. In our case, the primary key is our line ID. So we'll select line ID. Now
Okay.
coming to category map. So for a document, generally, like a normal ERP instance, when you are uploading data to F&A blob, it requires what kind of document it is, whether it's an invoice, it's a purchase order, whether sales order, right?
Okay.
That information we have to mention. So here, this is for this one, we have to make sure that you have to mention the proper value here. And we already have a table called F&D document categories, I guess. Yeah, F&D document categories. So we have to mention the code. We have to take the code from here. Document categories. Yeah, the name. This name we have to mention. Now in our case, let us say I'll select MISC, miscellaneous. Okay,
Okay.
that's it. Done. Attachment is done.
So
It
Steve,
yeah.
when we went to attachment ID, we only mentioned the new instance, but we did not mention which attribute there, right? So can we leave that null?
We don't have any feature, first of all. You don't even have any column called view attribute.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So for the functionality here is, we just need to mention the view instance, and then the remaining
Okay.
information, the FND, what you say, your document will get stored in the FND table. Okay.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
linkage between your your lines table and FND table is just your invoice line ID, because that's where we mention the
Oh,
primary key, right?
yes. Yes. Entity map. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they'll get linked.
Okay.
Now let's see. Click on search. Click on update. Yeah. Can you see this one? Attachment plus symbol.
Yeah.
Click on the
Okay. Yeah.
plus symbol. Now click on browse. You can just select any document. Apply. That's it. and just click on save. It will get committed. By default, it will not get committed. You just click on save, then it will get committed,
Okay.
right? It shows a now
Yeah.
clip icon. This clip icon generally appears in the normal forms also, right?
Okay.
Click on view. Now it shows a list of documents which are attached to this particular invoice.
Okay.
You can perform again DML stuff on this one.
Okay.
Add attachment. Click on browse. Click on print. Okay.
So how would you open those attachments, Sri?
Yeah, click on view and it shows hyperlink right on the file name.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So all the information, whatever is there with respect to attachment, that will get stored in the seeded tables.
Okay.
That's the default functionality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now other pending thing now what we have is, let us say, consider that now in the header level also we have the amount, right? Header level also we have the amount. So generally what the header amount should be calculated based on what you enter at the line level, isn't it?
Yeah. Sum of line notes. Yeah.
Sum of line amount. Okay. So what we have to do, the basic thing is user may always try to change the line amount. That's a basic thing, right? So what we have to do, always we have to refresh the header amount. So we'll
Okay.
just do that. And also we'll make this particular one, this amount as a read only in the header level, and we'll make the user to enter the amount at the line level. Let's see that.
Okay. Yeah.
So in the invoice DML page, the first thing is in the header level, in the header update region, invoice amount, make this as message style text in the update region also.
Okay.
Next thing is, how do we capture the event for that, right? We have to capture the event, isn't it? So in the lines
Okay.
update region, sorry, I think I did wrong. Yeah, I'm in the lines, right? So in the header update region, I have to change it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Now this is amount field. So what we do, message text input, yes, that's correct only. The only thing is just scroll down and set the fire action on this one. Set the fire action
Okay.
on this one and have an event on this.
Okay.
Amount underscore event. This is my event. That's it. What we have to do, just iterate all the rows and get the amount value, submit, and then update in the header level.
Okay.
So that's what we have to do. Okay, so first of all, let us write the business logic. Public update header amount. So for this one, we require both the things. We require header as well as we require lines.
Okay.
Okay.
See, we use current row here, right? When would we use a row reference? Is it okay if we want to use row reference here?
Yeah, so if you use row reference, you'll get only that particular current row information, right? Acha, you mean to say like for
Okay.
header stuff?
Yeah.
So header,
Instead of get current.
you'll get row reference if you are performing any action on that particular current row, right? Now in this one, we are not performing any action on the current row, right? Header level I'm saying about. In the header level,
Okay.
we are not doing any action on the header level. So we'll not get current row, you'll not get row reference there, isn't it? For the header.
Okay.
You'll
Yeah.
get the row reference for the line, that is correct. But just having a row reference for that line is not suffice now.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Now one more thing, to iterate all the rows irrespective of the filter criteria, we have to use row set iterator, or maybe if you remember in our vivo.get filter rows, right? In that also we have an option.
Yeah.
Query criteria is
Yeah.
there. Row set.
Okay, yeah.
Lines vivo dot create row set iterator. Lines data. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Now what we have to do? We have to get the amount. So the amount will be number. Okay. Oracle JVO domain number, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Line amount. So what we do first thing is we also require integer line amount. Okay. Now so invoice lines amount get lines row dot get amount. Okay. Now what we do is line amount is equal to line amount plus, maybe let me try. Uh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And now the other thing is here in the header row level, set amount, we require number, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a new number of line, right?
Okay.
That's how we'll set it. Now this method we have to call on the fire action.
Okay. Event param.
Yeah. Okay. That's it.
Okay.
Click on search, update. Okay. This is null. Sorry, those, here if you observe, it is showing 1000 and it is showing 100 here. The reason is like initially we did not have that logic, right? So that's the reason it's
Yeah.
showing that way. So we should have to ignore that. Now let's try to update the value here. Let us say, I'll say 500. Now above value should be 1500. Okay, I got exception. Let's see this. And yes, null pointer. Okay, so can you say why it is giving null pointer? Of course,
Yeah. The remaining two rows are there.
yes, remaining two rows. And also see here, when you get null pointer, it does not need to worry. Most of the times, if it is a custom code, it clearly tells you at which line, which particular method, which particular file. So we have all the information. Just find out the line number 45. So
Okay.
hopefully In the AMIMPL line number 45, it is having an issue. It exactly pinpointing this information. Can you see? 45. So
Yeah.
the basic thing is, if the invoice amount is null, because for some of the rows, the value is null, right? So if it is null, you cannot get a value, isn't it? That is why if we just
Got.
mention dot int value. So this will give an exception. Okay. So what we do is
Yeah.
simply, if invoice line amount not equal to null, right? And what we can do?
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Search, update. Let's try again. 250. Okay, got it. Set to 350 now. Okay,
Yeah.
600, 950, 680. Got it. So this is how we can set the header level amount. Save it.
Okay.
Now for the header ID 342, check whether the amount is 1630 or not. For header ID 342.
Okay.
342, amount is 1630.
Okay.
This is how we can set the amounts. And other thing is, let us say, assume that you have a requirement that, like for the miscellaneous, or maybe let us say for stationery. Okay. Now, if you have a requirement saying that, okay, for the stationery, the amount should not be greater than 100.
Okay.
What should we do? How do we rate?
So in the same event, right? Jay?
Yeah. So what we can do, sorry, come again.
In the same, we will get webbean. We'll use webbean and see if it's stationary, and if the amount is 680, then we'll raise an exception or something.
Yeah. See, one more thing, important thing here is, when you have a table region, we should never talk about web-bin. Okay. If
Oh,
the components are independent, now if you consider the above case, yes, you can use a normal web-bin approach. But if these components of the table region, now tell me, like, how do you get a web-bin? How can you get a web-bin? Because these will be created on the fly, right? In the static fashion, yes, we have the web bean. Now what is happening, this invoice head, this particular line is getting repeated, right? And the lines are dynamic now here. It's not just static design. These are getting generated automatically based on the framework functionality. Now, so see, if you want to set the column name, those things are different. But now the problem is, now we have a line type here, and now let us say I enter the amount here. Now using OA message text input for this particular component, you cannot get that information.
yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So
Because we
that,
have multiple
yeah,
multiple rows.
yeah, multiple rows. So that's the reason.
No.
Only basic thing is, when you are working with a table region, never use any of the. I mean, it doesn't need to use webbean. That may not work. That's
Oh,
what I am trying to tell you. Okay.
okay.
So yeah. So now what we have to do is, our requirement is, for this line type stationery, amount should not be this much. So what we do is, whenever you have a business logic, you may have a requirement saying that while entering the value you want to raise an exception, or maybe while saving it, either way. So now let us say
Oh,
on save we would like to have a validate. On save we would like to have a validation. So in the validation we'll try to have all the validation methods. So that we'll try to create a generic validation method. Now what we do is, let us say public void validate invoice data. So this is a generic method, we write it, and from this one we'll write one more method, public void validate invoice line amount. So why I'm writing like
Okay.
this one? Because in general real time, most of the times you'll be having a number of validations. So it becomes very difficult for a developer to write all the logic in a single method. So always have a different validation method for each particular entity and then club them. What I will do from here, from the main method, I'll just call this method like this.
Okay.
So this will ease our readability as well as the confusion. Now,
Okay.
again, we have to iterate all the data, right? So I can just use the same logic which we just got here, the row iterator logic.
Okay.
Okay, now here, what we do, so whenever the, so, or maybe we can use a filter rows because we want to get the data for a specific row, right? Specific data, not for all the rows,
Okay.
either way.
Test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so MIAC, oh no, STN, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't need this. And what I will do is, if lines row, okay,
Okay.
get line type. So always prefer to select get not equal to null and then compare like
Okay.
this. Compare static value with your dynamic value. So I'll just say stn dot equal lines row dot get line type.
Okay.
If it's a line type, then what we have to do? Then the next thing is if invoice line amount is not equal to null and
Okay.
here comes the problem. Okay. Now what we have to do is if it is not equal to null, then it will not have any null point issue, right? That's what we just observed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Other way what you can do is you can also compare number with a number. This number is a class data type. It's Java class. It's not just Java basic data type. There's a difference between Java basic data types as well as Java class data types. Now this
Okay.
NUMBR number is a class data type. So here it shows the methods also if you observe. Now invoice line amount, it shows dot equals or compare to.
Okay.
It's a like that's the thing. What I can do is it's already not equal to null, right? I can just select int value. If it is greater than 100, then I have to raise an exception like this.
Okay.
Invalid line amount or stationary line type. That's it. Now this logic, this validate invoice data logic, we have to call it when user clicks on save. On save button
Okay.
before performing commit, now call this one like this.
Oh, yeah.
Generally one more thing is we never prefer to write commit method at this level. Okay, so we should have what we can do is we can have this commit at that level, at that place only, in the validate.
Okay. 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 Yeah. So commit should always be written in the AM stream.
Yes, commit has, because this a method, right? You're calling some method and you're doing some,
Okay.
like you're validating some business logic and then you're performing commit, right? So that's the reason we write there.
Okay. Okay.
Click on search, update. Let us say now it is 680, right? When you just click on save, it has to raise an exception, right? Invalid line amount for station line type.
Yeah. Okay.
Let us say I'll enter it as 20. Now the invoice amount should be changed and just click on save. Now it should not give any exception.
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Yeah, so that's all. So we'll stop here, and in the next class we'll discuss about like a performing DML operation using other approach like and using the PL SQL API.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yep.
So considering the mini project, like most of the functionalities are covered as part of this one. Okay, but remaining functionalities we again work on them as independently.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye.